I would like to give a bit of background around Pulertec, what the technology is, why we believe it is such a competitive technology, the background towards investing in South Africa, and the potential of application of this technology in South and Southern Africa, and in general make people aware of the opportunity. So Pulertec is the company that we formed to host the small-scale LNG modular plants. Background on LNG. LNG is actually methane gas that's liquefied. It liquefies at minus 160 degrees C. It is a much cleaner fuel. It has about 30% less CO2 emissions than, for example, diesel in a vehicle. It is cheaper than diesel or petrol. We believe it will always be part of the fuel mix into the future gas. And there's a big international movement towards distributed small-scale LNG. For monetizing local gas resources, we're going to talk about that. You do not need pipelines, you liquefy the gas where it is and you distribute it to the customers in normal tankers, cryogenic tankers. Pulertec was formed or established in Calgary in Canada. It's mainly the same shareholders in Pulertec, except for a few than the shareholders in Ownerteam Consultation. Ownerteam Consultation is a consulting company, small consulting company in South Africa. Pulertec has an affiliate in India and also an agreement with Praat's Genex for module manufacturing. Praat has a very modern module yard run by robots and things, but we don't have to use them for Southern Africa. It was mainly focused around the Asian market. Gasconsult is the company that holds the process license for the technology. DICAT Solutions are in Canada. They are experts in standardization and modularization. Proconics, I think that you know of, they actually have a shareholding in Pulertec International. Why would one do that? Why would one want to sort of use small-scale LNG? The whole idea is that you take a local gas resource, whether it be coal bed methane or natural gas or biogas or whatever, and you make it easy to transport it to a local end user. And in order to do that, what is done is the LNG or the natural gas is liquefied in the form of LNG. That liquefaction methodology here, or the technology, is specially suited for small-scale plant. It's not similar to technologies for big plants of millions of tons per year. And, in that way you make energy available much cheaper, much cleaner, and reliably to end customers in your region, and you make yourself but independent of imported LNG, or energy, which is becoming a big topic these days. We started in 2016. We started with a feasibility study in Botswana. That looked quite good. We then decided as OTC that we will develop this LNG technology further. We formed the company, registered it in Canada, and we are now working on establishing the first concept plant to actually show people that it works and it can be commercially viable. You can use any sort of gas here. We just list biogas, coal bed methane, pipeline gas, natural gas, whatever, and use it for transport fuels. We believe that the Pulertec technology actually requires less energy to liquefy the same amount of gas, and this is sort of the emissions we believe you save in CO2 compared to other technologies, so it is quite a bit cleaner. we believe we have the lowest energy footprint, lower energy consumption than competitors, low capital cost, low operating cost, and very simple to operate. It is a standard modular unit, just like you will buy a compressor skid or a power skid or a turbine. The environmental impact stuff, you can see some of it here. I'm not going to read through it. A big thing is that there is no refrigerant in the system. We use the methane gas, inlet gas directive for that. This is the overall flow scheme. Our flow scheme is on the left. You can see it's much simpler than competitors. The main competitors are dual nitrogen, and very efficient processes use mixed refrigerants, which is even more complex than our process. You can see there's only two pieces of equipment here. This is sort of the power consumption. We actually compare ourselves with the Z1 LNG as to the dual nitrogen here. You can see we consume less energy per kilowatt or ton of liquefaction. We have 8 pieces of equipment compared to about 19 here. This is what the plant basically looks like. This is the compressor skid here. This is the cold box and the actual piping and control valves. The LNG is accumulated in this vessel and then loaded off into ISO containers from this vessel. Just sort of a bit for a reference, the liquefaction unit is 12 meters by 13 meters, so it's small. It's not a plant, it's just a skid, if I can call it that. It'll produce 7.5 million liters of diesel equivalent fuel. The end users, if they use the 7.5, they will reduce the CO2 emissions compared to diesel with about 4,500 tons, and they will save roughly half of their fuel costs. So if you buy the 7.5 million liters, you'll pay around about 10 million, whereas if you buy the LNG and take into account the higher efficiency and carbon taxes and all these things, you can see you will save a significant amount of money here. This is just a different picture of what the plant looks like. This is a more expanded view of the actual module, with the piping and all of that. Bit of performance data, if you're interested in that. 5,000 ton per annum unit here, 60,000 ton per annum unit here. Bit of background on the global LNG markets. Global LNG markets are growing rapidly. Their growth rate is around about 15% compared to commodities growing at 2, 3, 4%. It's already a $92 billion business. Key things that drives the growth is increased LNG production from local fields, increased power demand, the need for commercialization of local gas. I mean, it's clear that all countries are trying to make them more energy independent. At the moment, South Africa is sort of completely banking on importing LNG into the future. But we have a big gas resource in South Africa that we believe can be harnessed for this, and end users maybe heavy duty vehicles, industrial power users, marine tugboats, big ships, transport, trains, all these sort of things where diesel can be replaced with LNG, and in two ways. Either you can retrofit a diesel engine with LNG supplement and it will sort of save you, say, 50% on your diesel. It will use 30% diesel and 50% LNG. It depends a bit on the load and the road and all that. Or you can put in 100% LNG engine, which is like a spark plug engine then, and you will be dependent fully on LNG then. The idea is to have distributed centers where the LNG can be produced and used, locally as and when required and so on. It gives you a lot of flexibility. You can scale and ramp up as demand grows, and you make the environmental impact a lot less. If you compare this to a big gas plant centrally somewhere with pipes leading up to the central facility and then some pipe work from there to customers, this is much more scalable and easy to handle. These are the sort of inquiries or proposals that we have sort of responded on. You can see there's a lot of interest from India, quite a number of things we're looking at here in Southern Africa. There's quite a number from America and various other places that we have not even listed here. So once we have the reference plant going, we believe that we'll be able to close deals with numbers of other people. Investing in Puletec, what is the case of that? If we just look at the business model here, so Puletec is a company that will manufacture these modules and sell them to end users. So it could sell a module to what I call here the LNG SPV, Special Purpose Vehicle in South Africa. The idea is that we establish this SPV and we get funders investing in this special purpose vehicle. The special purpose vehicle will source gas from the gas field and sell it in Southern Africa through firstly the reference plant and then secondly through other gas fields in the region. So the idea is to have the modular inland plant to help with energy transition. So PTI and OTC invite people to take participation in this, firstly in the 5 kiloton facility in Sasolburg, where we will take the methane and make LNG. We need around about $250,000 to get the project to bankability, to a bankable level. Once it's at bankable level, we can go and source funding from other investors and so on. We need in a total, say around $7 million to construct the facility up to the point where it is running as a commercial plant of selling LNG. We will have to draw off money in tranches as required. The moment we are at bankable and we want to order the equipment, I think we need around about $2.5 million to place the orders for the big compressor, the cold box and so forth. What will such a plant economy look like? You can see here we've looked at two cases here. One case we sell LNG at $16. One case we sell LNG at $20. Customers at a fuel station at the moment buy diesel at just over $30 per gigajoule. So you can see this is substantially lower than that. We think $16 is sort of the bottom line. $20 may be the upper line of what we can get, and you can see this plant, even being a reference plant to prove the technology, would be economically viable. Maybe not at the sort of higher rate one would like, but it is the first step in a much bigger project, so you will see that just now. So we want to get the plant operational, establish the benchmark facility. We want to get LNG into the market and start making revenue. This is where we plan to put the plant in Sasolburg at the SLC site at this point. This is the picture of the site. This is the spot where we will put the plant here. This is the gas supply line, the flare here. Power supply will come from here. All the utility lines around here, air, nitrogen and things like that, will just pull off there. We have a MOU from SLC that they will operate and maintain the plant for us. And they have a gas supply contract with Sasol. We have a letter of intent from an LNG off-taker for 10,000 tons, which is actually double this amount. All these things during the bankability stage. In the next few months, we must of course convert into firm contracts. Otherwise, the project will not be bankable. But so far, stuff is progressing quite well. But more, so once we have the reference plant going and we have shown that the technology can work, then we want to look at the gas fields in Southern Africa and see how we can now start introducing that gas into the market. So for your background, these are sort of local gas fields in the northern part of the country. Kinetico gas at this point here, lots of gas here, lots of exploration happening, quite some work happening in Botswana here, also big gas fields. This is Renergen, this is around Sasolburg. I don't think there's much happening there at the moment. So the point is there is about 10 times more gas in these fields than what was in the original Panditemani field when the Sasol put in the pipeline from Mozambique to Sasolburg, Secunda and up to Gauteng and so on. There's plenty of gas. The issue is how do you get it commercialized, and we believe by using the small-scale LNG plants that are scalable, we can put in a 5,000-ton plant to show that the gas field, the wells are producing. Then we can add a 60 kiloton and another 60 kiloton and expand like that. Just a bit of a case study here. So if we look at the N3 between Durban and Johannesburg, we can, for argument's sake, say put 3 or so or 4 filling stations along this line here, drawing gas from the Kinetico fields, which actually run across the N3 here, or also some other gas fields, and put in these filling stations. If we put in these filling stations, this is sort of the picture. Optimistically, let's look at this one. Say we can replace over time 75% of the diesel with LNG. The capital cost required for that is $24 billion. The investors in this project will get about a 28% return, EBITDA return on their investment. The revenues here somewhere. Here, combined revenue 20 billion. So you can see it can be a very, very big project. It can have a huge impact on the South African foreign exchange and energy security. This is just one example, the N3, but of course there are many others. One would probably start, say, let's aim at 25% replacement, which gives you about 360 kiloton plants. We require 8 billion for that. And then we roll out further and put more plants in over the next few years, just as an example. So, cash investment or supply of hardware, we're talking to some people to supply us some hardware and so on. And we have to figure out the sort of deal we can set up within the SPV for equity investors in the SPV, maybe debt investors here. And that is the next step, is really, if people are interested, is to now sit down and draw up a plan and what tranches and how we can do this, where we can find the funding from, and so forth. So a bit of background, and I think that is my story. Thank you.